Hello there and welcome to The Ring, Euronews' debate show from the European Parliament here in Brussels, where elected members of the European Parliament go head-to-head on the big issues on their desks. This week, should all EU countries ban social media for under 16s? Is social media rewiring children's brains? And are Spain, France and Denmark leading the way? Luis Albertus sets the scene.
As children in Europe are growing up in an increasingly digital world, the EU faces a fundamental question. How should it protect children online? The debate isn't just about screen time. It's about deciding how far the EU laws should go and what kind of digital Europe we're building for our children. Some call for EU-wide rules, age limits, platform accountability, and stricter safeguards to protect children from harmful content and addictive design, such as infinite scrolling. Others warn that heavy-handed regulation risks overreach, infringes on national sovereignty, and could limit children's digital rights and freedoms. Can Brussels set standards that both protect and empower Europe's children? Will political divisions prevent the EU from taking decisive action? The answer may shape the digital lives of a generation that has never lived offline.
The questions that we have for our contenders. Let's meet them.
Christel Schaldemose, a Danish MEP and a member of the Socialists and Democrats group. She's a vice president of the European Parliament and a long-standing member of the Committee on the Internal Market and Consumer Protection. Before entering European politics, she was the Secretary General of the Danish Adult Education Council. She's best known as the lead rapporteur for the EU's Digital Services Act, which aims to make online platforms more accountable for illegal and harmful content. What is illegal offline must also be illegal online, she said. Axel Voss, a German MEP and a member of the European People's Party. He's a long-standing member of the Committee on Legal Affairs. Before entering the European Parliament, he worked as a lawyer and legal advisor. He's best known as the Parliament's lead rapporteur on the EU Copyright Directive, including the rules on online platforms' responsibility for copyrighted content. We need to stand up against fake news, and we cannot accept for social media platforms to become a legal vacuum, he said.
Christel Schaldemose and Axel Voss, welcome to The Ring. The aim here is to give our viewers a real taste of European Parliament debates and voting sessions, so I hope you feel right at home. Christel, let's start with you, because 483 MEPs voted in favour of more ambitious EU action to protect minors online, including an EU-wide minimum age of 16 for accessing social media. You were one of them. Give us your reasons why.
I would prefer that it was not necessary, but the thing is that the platforms, the social media we know today, they are honestly not fit for children and young people. They are faced with murder, suicide, violence, they're being bullied, and if that's not the case, then more than half of the content is also commercialized. So I don't think that that environment is fit for our children, and since the platforms, they do not do enough themselves to protect our kids against it, I think that the next step must be to make a ban so that we can make sure that our kids are protected. I prefer them to be digital, our kids, because that's the future. But we need to protect our kids better.
So you support a blanket ban. Axel Voss, 92 MEPs voted against this non-binding report and 86 abstained. Now, you voted in favour of it, but you're against this idea of a ban on social media for the under-16s. Give us your reasons why.
Yes, so exclusion doesn't not mean really protection. And this is something where I would say we need to go beyond this first step, what we have agreed on. And still, minors can circumvent the ban easily in just taking the wrong age. We should more focus on the content and the platform instead of the age of
Is that not a valid point, Christel? Because, of course, you know, we have bans when it comes to smoking and accessing alcohol. You could be asked for your ID, but, you know, minors always get away around that.
Yeah, but not all of them. And we are signalizing to the kids and young people what we think is acceptable and what is not. But I also think that what we do here, if we could make pan-European ban on entering social media before the age of 16 is also for the platforms, because they could have prevented kids from meeting this content, but they're not doing enough. And since they're not doing enough, we need to do something. So yes, you can always bypass, but not for the big numbers. And we are sending a signal to the young people and kids that we don't think that what is online and what is on there is good. And can I add, because Axel, I think that you're right when it comes to a lot of the content. It would be better. But on the other hand, then we are also faced with discussions about are we compromising freedom of speech is if we as politicians say what we allow and what we are not allowed to be online. So I think the best way, the easiest way to protect is to make a full-blown ban.
Christel has a point there. The big companies, the big tech companies are not listening or taking Brussels and the regulators seriously.
No, that's why we should focus on this platform and saying what is correct and what is not correct. So, and also focusing on the content. We need to give them a guideline, what is right and what is wrong. And then we might move forward. And of course, we should have in focus these platforms in fining them or even going beyond this step.
But when you give guidelines to the likes of Elon Musk, the billionaire, he sends a tweet saying the EU must be abolished.
Yeah, then I'm sorry, he should leave the market.
Elon Musk should leave the market?
Yes.
Do you agree with that? And how do you push a billionaire out of the market and the Tesla owner?
If the platforms, they don't want to comply with the rules we have in the EU, they are free to skip the European market. We have the rules we have in the EU, and if they don't want to comply, it's their case. But I still believe that our kids are faced with a lot of problematic content. And not just that, also the design of the platforms are not good for kids. They spend too much time there. We know that women, girls around 14, the age of 14, they spend more than 3 hours, but in average even 5-6 hours on a daily basis on these platforms, where they are formed. Their views on the world is put in there, not from parents, not from schools, not from civil society, but from a business, a commercial business. And I also think that we need to consider that as well.
And the data backs up what you're saying, Christel. 8 in 10 teens are checking their devices hourly. And according to a Eurobarometer, 9 in 10 Europeans say action to protect children is a matter, Axel Voss, of urgency. And it's easier to introduce a ban than it is to crack down on the content.
Yeah, of course, the addiction is very obvious. And that's why we should focus on the content at first, but also on the algorithms. So we should also control or have a kind of a specific approach on these algorithms who are using this addiction, who are using these dark patterns.
That's why I think a ban is better right now. In principle, I think your idea is probably the best in principle, but in reality it's so difficult to do. Look at the European Parliament right now. We would not even be able to agree on what is good content and what is bad content. Yeah. So we would end up doing nothing to protect our kids, because the platforms, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and all the others who owns these platforms, they don't want to protect our kids, because if they want to do it, they had already done it.
And you don't have the luxury of time here in the Parliament either to take years to decide.
No, but if you're looking to the whole world and to the Internet Governance Forum, the whole world is looking for measures in protecting the younger generations, for these mental health, also another problem, democratic problem. But we need to do here something, and we can also go together with other states in the world so that we have a broader negotiating part against all these.
And you mentioned other states in the world. We understand that Ursula von der Leyen is planning a trip to Australia very soon. That's, of course, on trade, but it's likely social media and their ban will also come up.
And that is very interesting, because I'm following that debate as well, and they have started now, and we have already seen that they have closed accounts for millions of kids in Australia. And I think we have to look and see how they fix, the bypass problem, but also does this really mean a better mental health? Does it really mean that we protect our kids? And if that's the case, I think really we should learn. So I'm curious about it. I'm going to follow it. And I'm very hopeful that Ursula von der Leyen also brings back good ideas from Australia,
So
because I think we need to do
It seems to be working, even though I have been reading some parents are helping their children circumvent the rules.
Yeah, but you can see already in Australia that they are circumventing, so the protection is not at all in this generation. So that's why we need to go beyond these, and that's why I also would say we need to think how we can support or even improve the DSA, the Digital Services Act, because this is only focusing on illegal content and not harmful content, and that's why we need to go beyond this anyway.
And Christel,
well, that's not completely correct, because we are also saying that if there is a systemic risk for things like disinformation, misinformation, but also hate speech, then the platforms need to risk mitigate. So they need to do something not just for minors, but we are also in the DSA, the Digital Services Act, we have an article, Article 28, and I will not be technical, but on that we have guidelines. It's about how we can protect kids, and the wording is quite clear. We need to have a very high level of protection, and that does not exist today. And since the platforms have done nothing at all to protect our kids, I think to start with, maybe not in 5 years, maybe not in 10 years, but here and now, we need to send a very crystal clear signal. Our kids, they're not protected, and therefore a ban is a way forward, even though we know that a percentage will probably bypass.
Mm-hmm. But
You're still not convinced?
No, not really. It's a first step, it's a soft approach, but if we would like to achieve the goal for the mental health of our next generation, then we need to go beyond and we need to be more stricter.
But let me stop you there, as we are just getting warmed up. So now it's time for you both to direct each other, just like you do in the hemicycle. So Christel, ladies first.
Yeah, but Mr. Voss, I know that you've been working in this area for very, very long on digital questions, and in many ways I don't think we disagree. However, you don't want to have this ban, but yet you have suggested that we should have age verification, so that we need to verify which age people have before they enter the social media. Why should that matter if you don't want to have an age limit for entering social media? So why do you want to have age verification without having an age limit?
Yeah, so age verification might only be one step, but of course we need also the competence of kids to get a feeling for algorithms, for for the digital world, and so this is not the best thing to move forward. So the balance and even better in focusing on the content, because this is affecting, the content is also affecting younger generations beyond 16 or whatever. So this is not really something where we can influence a lot. Content-wise, we should more concentrate and say what should be in and what should be out.
But the thing is that discussing about the content does, in the present climate we have in Brussels and in the EU right now, would mean that we do nothing, because we cannot agree about what is good content and what is bad content. And that's why I'm in favor of a ban, because we will not be able, maybe you and I could agree, but I'm not sure that we could agree with the far right or the far left. So there I think we need to have something. So why shouldn't we do
a reaction to that?
now?
And then you can pose your first question, Mr. Voss.
Yes, so then you have to make very sure that the circumventing is not happening. And here we need probably to do a kind of a more intensive identification tool. And this again gives clear names or clear birthdays and so on. This is something what we need then to do in addition to something like this.
I have to follow up, because I understand the bypass or circumvening thing.
Yeah.
But we also have bans, age limits on alcohol, and we also know that young people get access to alcohol. Shouldn't we then not have a ban? Shouldn't we have an age limit on that? Because also there we see that they are circumvening the rules.
Yeah, but there is no digital alcohol in a way, or digital alcohol alcohol is more the addictive design for algorithms, and this is something what we need to tackle. And the analog addictive, this is a different story, because online everything is possible.
But Mr. Voss, it is time for you to pose your first question.
Yeah, I would like to return this question. So in the report, you especially want to ban the social media use. But how we then tackle the problem of the same content appearing somewhere else? And this is something where I would say that's why it is not helpful. This banning of kids instead of banning of content.
But if you talk about what young people, kids are watching, for instance, on television, if they still watch old-fashioned television, very often you sit next to your parents and have an ability to discuss with them. What is it you're seeing? What does that mean? Is that the real world? How does it work? When you're on social media, you're completely on your own, and no one is really helping you or following you. And that's why it's so much more important that we do this to protect kids, because in the offline, in the analog world, you are better protected because you have people around you.
But online kids are more intelligent than their parents, so they know how to come to what they have in mind instead of the parents.
Would you agree with that?
No, but does that mean, with your point of view here, Mr. Voss, that we shouldn't care because we cannot do anything anyway? And there are more, of course, kids understand quite a lot about how technical things works online. But should we then just give up and say that the internet should be a forum where nothing is banned, where everything is legal, even child pornography, etc.? You know, I think that what is illegal offline should also be illegal online.
No, but we shouldn't have in mind that the problem is solved with this. No, we should have another approach on it. So that's
I don't think that everything is solved, but I think we can take a huge step in the direction of protecting our kids.
So that's the view from our MEPs. We'd also love to hear your view. You always can write to us here, thering@euronews.com. But it is now time to bring in a new voice. I would like to bring in the voice of the Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sánchez, who said this week that Spain would ban social media for under-16s in legislation that could be introduced as soon as next week. Speaking at the World Government Summit this week in Dubai, Pedro Sánchez said social media has become a failed state where laws are ignored and crimes are tolerated. We will protect them from the digital Wild West. We will change the law to hold executives accountable for illegal and hateful content. So, Axel, what did you think of this announcement that created a bit of a storm in Dubai and Qatar as well, where the tech summit was taking place?
So I'm more than less on that line. I would agree. That's why I would suggest we need to think about content. I know it's extremely difficult what content is okay and what not, but
and with so much disinformation, misinformation.
On use cases, we can draw this line.
But the momentum is there. We saw this announcement from Spain. France has introduced or is planning on introducing a ban for under-15s. Greece, Denmark, Ireland also contemplating.
That's true. Right now, in the whole of EU, we're discussing this, and we're discussing it for good reasons, because we see that our kids are faced with things online that they shouldn't be able to see. And we have tried other ways, and it doesn't work. So that's why a lot of governments think that this could be the next step. And I also think that if we don't do it at EU level, but allow individual member states, then there's also a risk that we fragment.
Indeed, could we have a patchwork of different laws, and then, you know, it could face a lot of legal battles? Is it not better just to have a blanket EU ban?
And that's why we in the European Parliament, and a big majority, did in fact suggest an EU ban, a pan-European ban. It's easier and it would cover and protect all our kids in EU, even though we know that, of course, some of them will bypass the ban, but we still believe that that's the best and easiest way here and now to protect them.
And to go back to Elon Musk, his ears might be burning because we mentioned him already. He called Pedro Sánchez, the Prime Minister of Spain, a traitor and a tyrant also for these comments, and a fascist.
No. So we in Europe would like to link values with technology. And that's why we can't really allow every content on platforms at all.
But if these tech billionaires that run these websites, if they don't have values like we do, what do you do then?
If you are not interested in align with our values and what we have written in the DSA and DMA and so on, please leave the market.
Well, of course, there's also that investigation underway by the Commission when it comes to Grok. That's the XAI chat box. We're waiting to hear more from Elon Musk and from X on that. But it is time now to take a short break here on The Ring. Stay with us. We'll be back very, very soon with some more political punch from the European Parliament. Welcome back to The Ring, Euronews' weekly show. I'm here in the Parliament, joined by MEPs Axel Voss and Christel Schaldemose. And the idea here is to bring Parliament debates to your very sofa. This week, our guest MEPs are sharing their views on social media bans for under 16s. But we also love hearing from you. So we asked Euronews' Madrid office to talk to locals and ask them if a social media ban is a good idea. Take a look.
Hoy en día, pues, la gente todo lo que ve pues lo critica o lo transgiversa y a veces solo puede afectar un poco tanto en la autoestima como en el pensamiento de aquel menor, ya que aún no tiene desarrollado ese pensamiento maduro.
Me parece bien, creo que no están formados y creo que es una buena medida.
Bueno, yo creo que tal vez fuese un poco fuerte, tal vez sería bueno tener algunas restricciones para los menores, pero prohibirlos como tal me parece una medida un poco fuerte. Lo malo es que mucha gente se crea perfiles falsos y justamente los usan para dar discursos de odio sin dar su identidad real, ¿no?
Yo creo que Twitter es el que más odio y más cosas malas se pueden decir ahí.
There are just a few opinions from the streets of Madrid. Your reaction to that, Christel?
Clever people in Madrid, I have to say, and I think they're right in their concerns. You know, it's not an easy task to take another step in order to protect our kids. However, I think when you balance everything up, a ban right now for young people and kids under the age of 16 is, in my opinion, the best way to protect them against what we just heard here.
But a ban, of course, is a negative word for young people. Could we see a backlash from young people?
I'm not sure. So at first, the young people know what they are talking about, and that's why a ban probably wouldn't always fit the situation, and that's why probably they would, if they would know, to do more about algorithms or also the content.
And what is the debate in Germany, the public debate on this?
Yeah, of course, the last time has been the exploitation of sexual exploitation of children on X, and so this is something. But here, I would say it's fitting the same opinions here for Germany.
And we heard there about the fear about X and the hate speech.
But the thing we know from surveys in Denmark that around 94% of kids under the age of 13 is on social media. So when we talk about people knowing the digital world and understanding what they're seeing, I simply don't agree on that. I mean, if you're 15, you might better understand, and you know the techniques, and you can maybe also know how to approach this and talk to an adult. But kids, real kids, and that's why, I mean, we need also to understand the depth of this issue. It is really serious.
And that's the thing, Axel Voss. How do you explain or educate kids who've never lived in a world without digital devices?
This is really tricky, but all the younger ones who are growing up with these, they have a kind of a natural feeling. Instead of having a real social life, they have this social life online, and probably there is a relief if you're just taking the mobile for 1 hour, 2 hours away, and then they feel more free. But to come to this point, this is very hard.
We know also in Denmark we have seen some schools making some tests about how it works when they are taking the phone away from the kids during school day. And in the beginning, people react very, very angry. They are angry because they are addicted. They act like an addicted person. But after 14 days, the majority of them says, well, this is in fact wonderful. We are now looking at each other. We are talking to each other. We are playing. So I also think that we are in fact doing something good for the kids, even though they might not understand it to begin with, if we make them less dependent and make sure that they spend less hours online and make sure that for a part of the content that it's not kept away from them.
And that means they're not being photographed either in the schoolyard, which is something that a lot of people do not like. Would you be in favour of this, taking mobile phones from school kids during the school day?
Yes, during the school hours.
This ban you're in favour of?
Yes. So, but again, this is not age verification. This is in general something, what I would say, this is a good thing, especially also for the concentration in the school.
Well, now it is time to move on to our fifth and final round. Are you ready? So now it is time for something a little bit different. I'm going to ask our MEPs a set of questions, and you're only allowed to answer with yes or no. Is that doable?
Oh, for a politician,
it's difficult, but we will try to manage.
Wonderful. Are you a social media user, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you addicted to social media, Axel Voss, yes or no?
Totally not.
No, not at all.
Is social media harmful to children under 16, Axel Voss, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Is social media harmful not just to teens, but to society in general, Mr. Voss?
Yes.
Also here I have to agree, yes.
Are parents responsible for their children's social media usage, Mr. Voss?
I would say yes.
Yes, to a very large extent, but not completely.
And is big tech responsible for the mental health crisis we're experiencing today?
Exactly, also. They have a huge responsibility for what the content, which user are seeing which content.
Yes.
Are they aware of this responsibility?
I don't think so.
They are very well aware, but they earn a lot of money and that's why they do it.
And should governments control kids' social media use, yes or no?
No, not really. So, no.
This is precisely where you both disagree.
Yes, when it comes to when they are allowed to enter social media.
Are you on Twitter?
I'm on X, yes. And I have to say that I'm addicted to using my phone, but not necessarily social media.
Are you on TikTok?
No, but X, Insta and Facebook.
Should we ban social media usage from the European Parliament?
No.
No.
And something general, is the future of the European Union bright for our young people watching today?
I hope brighter, but it is difficult times, but we can help them have a brighter future if we help them stay away from social media.
Yes.
The future is bright. Axel Voss and Christel Schaldemose, thank you so much for being with us here. Did anything change your mind from what you heard today?
No, not really. I agree on a fundamental level, but we need to do more.
Well, I still believe that a ban is here and now the best and easiest quick fix.
Thank you so much for joining us today on The Ring and being our guest and sharing your insights with us. And thank you so much for tuning in. As I said earlier, thering@euronews.com, that is our email address. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in. Take care and see you very soon here on Euronews.